Hi everyone, and thank you for watching the Otter Project's new training video for old volunteers. This video is intended to smooth the transition between the old procedures of collecting data to the new procedures that are now standardized through the state of California. Before we begin, I wanted to mention that all the information and documents you need to volunteer are still located on the Meetup website under the Pages tab. You may also email volunteer@otterproject.org if you have any further questions. This slide shows an example of the new data tally sheet. There is no longer the need for the activity codes, as volunteers will simply be tallying in the appropriate boxes as they move along through the survey site. Codes like A1A, L for surfers or board sports, and T for boats are now a thing of the past. This quick activity reference guide, which is also now available on the Meetup website, will help you answer any questions about the definitions of certain activities and recognizing specific types of fishing boats. For example, wildlife watching has its own specific definition. People need to be actively engaged in wildlife watching with either a spotting scope, binoculars, or overt pointing and interaction with wildlife. This quick activity reference guide will help volunteers across the entire state to be as objective as possible when collecting observational data. Please refer to this guide when you are out surveying. Site protocols all remain the same. For example, if you have been walking natural bridges for the last 2 years, the route and instructions have not changed. Now to explain the new data sheet. This photo shows the top third of the datasheet, and we will go through the rest in the next few slides. Before you begin your survey, walk to the location your protocol asks you to start at. Then collect your metadata shown in the top box. This includes name, date, transect ID, which is simply the name of your survey, for example, natural bridges, start time, end time, and weather conditions. You will notice the weather conditions are only by observation. When you enter your data in online, you will have the chance to increase accuracy for this section of the data. In the next section, we begin to see activities. All descriptions of activities are written on the quick activity reference guide available on the Meetup. Beach recreation is essentially A1A or A2A. You will have more tally marks here than most other sections. Wildlife watchers need to be actively engaging with a spotting scope or binoculars, or overtly pointing at wildlife. Domestic animals, off and on leash, are typically dogs. Please note animals that are not dogs in the comments section. Driving on the beach is typically law enforcement or lifeguards. Tide pooling requires active observation or non-collecting interaction with tide pools. Hand collection of biota involves the extraction of animals or plants into a bucket or net. These last 4 involve shore-based fishing. Shore-based fishing is either on the sand or rocky intertidal area and involves one of 4 tools: hook and line, traps, nets, or spears. Offshore activities include board sports like surfing and kite surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, which is located in its own separate tally category, swimming, which must be folks in the water with their knees or deeper, and the next 3 activities involve diving. Divers can be counted as actively diving even if they are not gearing up or entering or exiting the water. The first has the diver holding a spear gun. The second has the diver in possession of marine life or with nets or bags. The last category of diving is non-consumptive, simply for recreation. Boat fishing falls into several categories. When you first see a boat, determine whether it is inside or outside the MPA. If it is not inside the MPA, we cannot count it. Next, determine if the boat is actively fishing or inactive. Then determine if the boat is recreational or commercial. If you simply don't know, you may put unknown. Finally, determine what kind of tools the boat is using to fish: traps, lines, nets, diving, or spearfishing. Moving along, we have categories for boat kelp harvesting and whether it is active or inactive, commercial passenger fishing vessels and whether they are active or not, unknown fishing boats, active or inactive, and this is only if you cannot tell what they are fishing with, paddle-operated boats, dive boats with the dive flag up, whale watching boats, work boats, other boats. After you have finished with this section, answer the series of questions in the last box on the bottom. This includes violations, research conducted, large groups, and more. Do not forget to tally the sea otters you see and log them in this box in the appropriate area. Finally, once you have answered all questions, write in the end time at the top of the data sheet that you were working on. Please complete one data sheet for each survey. Once you are done, please enter it into our new database at www.mpawatch.org. Please notice the website is still being formatted and storyboarded. However, you will only need to enter your data here. Your volunteer manager will give you a username and password and simply click Log In to enter your account. Once you log in, click Log a Survey. Instructions on how to log a survey are available on the Meetup website. This slide shows the first section of the data entry for one survey. Be sure to fill in every box that you can. Click on the plus signs next to certain headings to open them up and enter in more data. Enter in all activities that you saw. It should auto-populate, but make sure that all the other activities have a 0 filled in. You can use the search box on the top to find specific activities instead of scroll through the entire sheet. At the end, be sure to click the plus signs again to fill in every piece of data that you can. You can upload sea otter counts and other notes in the Other Comments section, and you may also upload photos. Lastly, don't forget to hit Save. You may send your datasheet to the Otter Project in several ways: through snail mail to the address below. You may scan and email it to volunteer@otterproject.org, or you may hand it to your volunteer manager at the next meetup. As a reminder, please be sure to sign up for the survey you're participating in through the Zoho calendar. If you're not familiar with the calendar, simply go to zoho.calendar.com, enter in the following username and password, and click Sign In. You will then be shown a calendar view. Click the date you would like to survey and then click More Details in the bubble that pops up. On the next screen, enter in all relevant information, including your name and site location, which calendar you are using for each region, whether it is Monterey, Santa Cruz, or San Luis Obispo, the time and day, and don't forget to hit Save. Thank you for watching this new video, and thank you so much for being a volunteer with the Otter Project. Any questions can be directed to volunteer@otterproject.org.